Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. And in today's video, I'm moving back to my Vicki Boutin's, I've lost the name of it, Discover and Create. So I'm starting with this paper as the background paper, and I'm also following along with Hey Little Magpie's monthly challenge set by Julie Taylor this month to use squares. So I chose this background paper because it's got the grids on the background. It's also got those pencils down the left-hand side, so I thought it would be absolutely perfect for this photo of my two walking home from school back in 2012. This was their first year at school, and I was absolutely determined that we were going to walk to and from school every day because it was just under a mile, not very far. That's why I chose the local school, so that they would get into a good habit of walking every day. So this was just a photo that I snapped on the way home in July of that year. So I'm just choosing some of my scraps of papers from this collection to add as a mat behind the photo. So this was one that I cut the circle out of the middle of previously, and I'm just squaring up the edges that show, just so that it's not a curved edge behind the photo. I've also added that newsprint paper down the left-hand side, and now I'm gluing the photo down onto that paper. So this photo was printed out with a little white border. I printed it from my laptop, and that always prints with a white border around a 4x6 photo, so makes it easier. It means I don't have to mat it onto white cardstock, so all's good. And I'm just using this blue paper now. It's like a wood grain to create a further mat behind the photo. The orange piece didn't fully cover it, so I just wanted to add a bit more. And then once I've added that, I'm going to add another piece of the orange, but using the reverse paper this time to add under there. So just moving the scraps out the way and then trimming that down to size. And I shall glue that down just to get a few layers behind that photo, just to create some interest. And you can see to the left-hand side of the screen, underneath my scissors, I've pulled out some bits and pieces from the papery paper and also the frames. Anything that was rectangular or square that I thought would work on this layout, I've pulled out. So you can see I'm sticking down those papers now. First of all, the newspaper print, and then a torn strip of that same paper that I used to mat the photo with. It's the reverse of that orange paper. So that paper's just about done now. I'm just roughing up the edges, and then I shall start laying things down. And I've pulled out 3 frames. One that says real life looks like this, that I'm going to put to the bottom right hand corner, just there. One that's like a negative frame there, and then this strip of 3, which I love. I've also die cut from black cardstock a film strip frame. This is from one of our dies at Hey Little Magpie, but you can get film strips in a lot of collections now. 49er Market do tons of film strips. I'm using one of the papery pieces to add for my journaling behind that real life frame, and then I'm going to carry on building and creating. But that's the basis of what I've got. So now tucking a little tag under the bottom and a couple of tags at the top here. All of these are from the papery or papery pack. Just that one there, and then I've got a pink one as well, which I think works nicely with the colours in the papers. And I've gone for really neutral colours behind this photo because it's quite a bright, vibrant photo of them with their school coats on. The school coat was actually more of a purpley blue, but it's printed out quite blue in this. So now cutting off one of these date pieces again from the papery pack, and just tucking that underneath the photo. And then I found a ticket that just says single ticket, but it's a nice blue to go, purpley blue to go with their coats. And just working out how to add all these different layers in. So now coming in with my glue. So per usual, I don't really want to move things too much now that I've got them how I want them. So I'm trying to be careful when I glue things down. And just using my PVA glue for ease. Now these chipboard pieces, I've got enough behind the photo and enough layering under the photo that it's made it quite rigid. So I'm going to be brave and not actually add any foam behind my photo, because I think there's enough going on behind it to hold it up and in place without having to add foam as well. So just sticking that die cut film strip down, trying to get it in place so that a lot of it shows. I don't want to hide it all. And then it's just a case of going around and getting things situated. So the tags I'm going to glue together before I get them stuck down. And I'm really enjoying this range because there are a lot of grids and lines on it. So it really helps me getting things straight. without going too far off course. So that grid paper as the base is a really good help for that. So just working out, I want to make sure that that frame at the bottom that says real life shows the real life piece below the photo mat without getting too low. So I'm constantly bearing that in mind while I'm sticking everything down. So I'm sticking that paper piece behind so that I can have my journaling there. And I was toying with cutting the top piece off, but actually I quite like it as another layering piece. So I keep it on there. Just sticking that tag down at the bottom and then getting this stuck down all as one piece behind the photo. Now that the top's all in place, I can work out exactly where I want to put this at the bottom. I just need to pull up that frame to get it there, and then I can stick that down as well. And at the moment I've just got that date tag just loose, so I'm going to pull that out and add the date with my roller date stamp, which was 9th of July 2012, and tuck that back under there. I'm going to add a couple of foam pads under that because it's very flimsy, so I just want to hold it in place in between the two bits of chipboard that I've got there on those two frames that I've used. So I'll leave the link down below to the Hey Little Magpie Chat and Inspiration group. Do and go and check it out. We have challenges every month, and you're in with the chance of winning £10 worth of Magpie points, 1,000 points, which you can use to spend at our store. And we have lots of online products, so even if you're international, there's still a way to spend those points. So do go and check it out. So the journaling is going in that square, and it just says, I was bound and determined that we would walk to and from school every day. And here we are, end of reception, walking. So it's really nice to have that documented in their book. So I'm just trimming off this title piece that says captured on film. I just thought that worked really nicely, sticking out from the right hand side of that photo. And I'm using a tape runner to stick this down, my Stix 2 tape runner, just because the papery pieces are so very thin. I was worried about warping and wrinkling if I use my wet glue on that piece because it's such a feature piece on the layout. So I just used a dry tape runner. This is a washi tape sticker, a ruler, so I'm going to use some of it down the left hand side there and some of it underneath that captured on film. So I'm just making sure it's tucked neatly underneath that chipboard frame and then trimming off the excess. And as I say, I'll pop that down on the left hand side, just coming up from where that single ticket is. Now it's slightly wider than the ticket, so I do want to find something to stick next to the ticket just to hide the difference there. So I think about using this tab and I cut it off and put it down there, but then I realised that I've got the words on that same captured on film sheet. So I go back to that and find one of the phrases on there. And the phrase that I choose is beauty in the everyday, because that's exactly what this is. It's just an everyday occurrence. But it really meant a lot to me that we'd done it. And we did, we continued. And even now, they still walk. Amelia walks to college and James walks to the bus to get to his college. So I'm really proud of them. So just trimming off the excess pieces and then getting that stuck down as well. There we go. So that just hides that step that I had between the ruler and the ticket, which I wasn't entirely happy with. So now I decide to add that tab at the top above the photo. So just gluing that in place, and obviously I need to find something to stick on that. So I go back to that word sheet again and I find the word smile. So I'm just trimming that out and that will go onto that tab. This papery pack is just amazing. It's the first time I've used it and I cannot believe how much is in there. It is a bit fiddly to pull all the pieces off the, because it's been die cut from very thin paper and they've been left on that thin paper, so you just have to pull it out of that, but it's no hardship really when you see how much you get in the pack for the price. So coming in with the puffy stickers now, just to add a couple of extra elements and different dimension. And then I pulled out some 49er Market washi tape, this stitched washi tape I thought would work really nicely along the left-hand edge. So I've gone with the sage green colour, which goes nicely with the rest of the colours in this collection. And then I'm going to add another piece underneath that ruler. just to bring it in. I say this almost every video, but I try and mirror what I'm doing. So because I've added that to the left, I wanted to bring a bit into the right as well. So now tying some twine through the tags, first of all the top ones, and then I'll turn my attention to the bottom. So at the top I've tied it through the right hand tag and then back to front through the pink tag, and then I loop it behind the film strip frame, the chipboard one, and then just glue it in place on the second rung, if you like, of that film strip frame. So just trying to get it underneath that chipboard that I've already glued down. Always wanting to add things when things are glued down. It's typical, isn't it? So just a dot of glue, holding that in place, and then using the excess just to tie a bow in the bottom tag. So just again a dot of glue just to hold that in place. And then just seeing what else I pulled out, and I remembered I had this pencil shaving which I thought was really cute, and because it's a school photo of sorts, I thought that would work nicely on this layout. And then also these blue splodges, which I thought would work really nicely at the top. And again, it's that same sort of blue tone they've got in their coats. So I do like that up there. And then I find this other black label, which I just think finishes off that layer nicely on the right hand side there. So just tuck that under and get that stuck on, and that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this process video. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Do check out the Hey Little Magpie Chatting Inspiration group, and I shall see you again very soon for another layout. Bye.